them a force, because of them a lost. Now them a furious now. Let them a threaten my life. Rumors just a fly well high. Fire! Fire! Mrs. Brown, wanna hold I down. Yeah, no. Mrs. Brown, you're too wicked. Hey. Mrs. Brown, you can't hold I down. Lord, under attack from friend and foe. From Mrs. Brown and Co. Under attack, Lord, the firing from her roadside track. Mama, under attack from Heckle and Jekyll. Them have a bigger time plot. Under attack, Lord, the firing from her roadside track. Lord. Whitey Kubuli. There is blood on your land. Thieves and murderers, yeah. Blood that flow from mountains right down to the sea. Pushing to Scots, Lord, is police brutality, yes, as the devil gave the order, police are shoot at will. Rasta is the victim, well, shouldn't you kill for the trade and deal. Do you remember Black Tuesday? Said I hope you remember. Do you remember Black Friday? Do you remember? Do you remember Black Tuesday? Said I hope you remember, yes. Do you remember Black Friday? Lord. Others are weeping because their sons are dead. We never fire the bullets, oh no. No, we are dying. We never started the fire. Oh no, we are.
All right, that is where we want to see a special greetings, a special welcome, a special hello to all of you all already locked in this audience, this piece right here on Civic Vibes. It is about 5 minutes past the good old hour of 6 o'clock, and that is where we want to make a start right here, 23rd day of April, 2023. Again, I want to say a special greetings and welcome to all of you tuned in at this time to this space each and every Sunday from just about that time, about 6:05. That is where we normally, start a program that is always worth listening, always worth interacting with each and every Sunday. This afternoon, the program is no difference of a program. It's a very important topic that we're going to be discussing this afternoon with a very special invited guest in the name of Brother Winston, Brother Jefferson Winston, better known as Sharu. I know a lot of folks know this brother by his pet name, as it were. He's a patriot of Dominica, living outside of Dominica for now, but doing very good thing for himself. And so in just a while, we'll be hearing from Brother Sharu in just a while. But without I move any further, we have an encore, as it were, of the program each and every Sunday from these days. Brother Alvin Thomas. Alvin, good afternoon to you, my brother, and how are thou?
Good afternoon, Lofty. Good afternoon, my brother. Good afternoon. How are you doing, man? Good to see you again. Yet another Sunday. How's it going?
As they say in Dominica, you have the holy string, so I'm holding my part of the string.
Okay. Like Avan Roy used to say on Kyrie, Chebe Pabuache.
Chebe4.
Pabuache. All right, it's good to see you again, my brother, as well as Sharu. Good to see you, bro. It's been a while. Yes, as you said, it's always a pleasure to be back on yet another Sunday with our many fans. I see the Facebook page is lighting up already. It's burning. So yes, it's a pleasure. I always look forward to that conversation with my people at home and in the diaspora. So it is indeed a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to us having yet another lively conversation this evening.
All right, Brother Thomas, thank you very, very much indeed for taking time off your Sunday afternoons each and every time you can and being part and parcel of the conversation and also the listening public and also these days the viewing public. Folks, this afternoon, as I said before, an all-important topic will be discussed here this evening, and that is all about the consequences of unfair general elections. And we're going to touch on two symptoms or two signs, as it were, this afternoon, as it pertains to a country like ours in Dominica, I must say, have had unfair elections for some time now. And we are witnessing right about now our economy, which is very, very stagnant at this time. And also the situation of the governance of the country. It is very, very poor. Much is desired in these two departments. So basically, that is the conversation we're going to have this afternoon. And of course, at the end, or just before we bring it to a wrap, we'll try to have sort of an action-oriented aspect to the topic that we're discussing, how you, the listening public, how you, the viewing public, can get involved in at least curbing the tide, or stemming the tide, as it were, of these two situations of bad governance and also having a stagnated economy at that. All right, folks, yes, I'll touch you in just a while in terms of your names, those of you already here on the live feed, but it is now, we have the pleasure, that is the Civic Vibes team, we have the pleasure now of letting you hear our special invited guest in the name of Brother Jefferson Winston, better known as Brother Sharu. Sharu, good evening to you, my bro, and how are thou?
I'm blessed, Loftus. Are you hearing me good?
Very, very well.
Okay.
And
I'm blessed. I want to tell you, I appreciate the effort that you want to, have my input in your, I would say, brilliant discussions you just have. I mean, you've really been doing justice, I would say, for the people. I hope one day, we could have recognized you, like, maybe put you somewhere close to the flag. But I have to say, I'm looking forward for this discussion, and let's see what, because Dominica is very dear to my heart, and especially the young persons who really want to be self-employed, who want to have an avenue to create their own employment and create their own wealth. And, we have seen that thing drifted for the past 20 years. And and it's an honor for me to be here with you this afternoon. And let's, put facts where facts have to go and see what our people think about our, our ideas. And if they are ready, really ready to know that they have to do what they have to do to stop settling for less.
Yes, indeed. Brother Sharu, thank you very much indeed. And as you said, put the facts where the facts will go. And I know you're a man that normally always put the facts where.
Oh, yeah, I put it straight as it is, bro.
Yeah. All right. And so that is why we'll be wanting to hear much more from you later as the conversation continues on here. All right, folks, it is your time now. The 50-something, 58 persons already locked in the viewing audience. Those I can see up front, that is, you have basically put something on the live board so we can mention your name. Those of you there as well in the incognito mode, meaning I cannot see you are there, but we know you are there. Thank you very, very much as well. Mali Ostri, that is a usual suspect of Civic Vibes. Good evening to you, my friend. Dave Bertrand, good evening to you. Alan Pierre, Claralyn Warrington, David Joseph. We also have Julie Polidor, Judith Cochran, you're there as well. Bryna Francis, you're also there. Stephanie John Baptist, Eliza Luis Gomes, you're also there. Good evening to you guys out there. Carol Ann Ford. Carol, I got your message, Carol, all right? And we need to link up next time you pass my way, all right? Veronica Pascal, Ivinia Joseph, John Blanchard, good evening to you, bro, in a very special way. Brother Dory Drygo, you're out there, good evening to you as well. Marlene Shillingford, Vernie Vash, Carol Olivachi Bruni, you're also there. Medina St. House. And also I want to say a special good evening to your daughter as well. Good evening to you, Medina. Edith John, you're also there. Carol Fontaine, you are there as well. Watson Duvini, that is Miss Watson Duvini, you're also there. Virginia Nicholas, Janice Jacques, Eufeli Vidal. Eufeli texted me a while ago, asked me, Lofty, what is happening? Where is the program? I told her we are going live in just a bit. So Eufeli, thank you for being there. Cecilia Bedminister, you're always there. Good evening to you. Adelaide Joseph, also there as well. Dorian Dorival, Marshall Lawrence, Brother Zed Lloyd, you're also there in the listening audience. We also have as well Maria Elias Challenger, good evening to you. And the list goes on and on and on. So folks, it's always a pleasure to have you guys with us as we always have very interesting and informative conversations here. So as I said this afternoon, it will be no difference. And so we indulge your patience and also your interactions. Whatever you need to say, you can punch it in the chat and I will put it to Brother Sharo or Brother Alvin, and we'll try to answer your comments or questions or feedback, whatever it is. Also, if you want to call in, the numbers are 245. I'll place these numbers in the chat in just a while. 245-2396. Again, 245-2396, or the DG line 615-9470. These are the two numbers that can get your voice into the conversation live so that other persons out there can also hear you as well. We are streaming this program live on Facebook as we speak and also on YouTube as well. So those of you who have the avenue to go to the YouTube channel, please do and enjoy the program there as well. All right, folks, without further ado, let me move across to Brother Alvin Thomas. This guy is always ready. He's a soldier. This guy is always ready like a soldier, ready to go. Alvin, good evening to you. Let's get the conversation up and running, my brother, in terms of our topic this afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon again, Lofty, and good afternoon to my brother, dear Sharo, and all our many fans that have already locked in with us. Yes, that's another interesting conversation. It's a conversation we're having here, and with our many folks logged in, and those who, who in some way, are you hearing me okay, Lofty?
You're going in and out, but we are hearing you nonetheless.
Okay, because I just noticed my internet kind of
yes, but we are hearing you now. So let's see how that works from there.
Yes, I was saying it's a conversation that we generally have. I think that is where we need to take these topics as a conversation, as against we come in and trying to spill any lecture or anything like that. We want to talk to the people. We want to have an eyeball to eyeball, a heart to heart talk. That's the kind of environment we want to have. That's where we want our people to have an understanding of the issues that affect them. And this afternoon, as was promoted through Civic Vibe, was a stagnant economy and poor governance, the consequences of unfair elections. And why that topic? I guess some folks might be saying, what is it's kind of heavy loaded, one might say, but yet not heavy loaded. Let's break it down. Over the last couple of weeks and months, there's been a lot of discussion going on, a lot of conversation as it relates to electoral reform. And I think what has happened with that conversation over the last couple of weeks, folks are looking at it purely from just this, what one I should say, the process, if one might to say, of electoral reform. And of course, in that conversation, the name of Sir Byron comes in, and you have the Prime Minister not doing X, Y, and Z, and then you have some other persons come into the conversation, what the opposition is doing or not doing. But by and large, Lofty, electoral reform must not be seen or discussed. The conversation must not be held in an isolation. And by that, what I mean is that election reform and an unfair election process, which we will go into a little more detail, has consequences for us as a people. And what are those consequences? Is there economic mobility for young people? In other words, if the process of electing persons to represent us is unfair, if whatever the mechanisms are not there and it's unfair, so as a result, you have persons getting into public office in the wrong way, in a tainted way, to use the word of the CCJ's report, in a tainted manner. It means, therefore, the outcome of our young people not being able to get jobs, our young people not being able to grow, our economy not going to be vibrant, the poor governance. All of these are going to result. All of these are going to come about, but due to the fact that we have not had a system in place that bring to office person elected in the proper manner. And I think the question for all of us, those at home and those in Dominica, is after each election cycle. So we had the last election in 2022, December. Prior to that, it was in 2019. A young person asked the question, am I in a better position now economically? The whole development, is the country in a better position now than it was from the last election in 2019 to 2022? And you can do the same thing like 2014. You had an election in 2014, then you had one in 2019. Are you in a better position? Because as I said, the intention is to elect persons to do the right governance, to bring about the development, and to make your lives and the lives of all of us better. And therefore, that is why the whole question of electoral reform is so linked with all of that. And we must not just look at it in isolation as a process. Well, we need to fix this, we need to do this, we need to do that. The voters list and all of those things. But why do we need to do that? What is the linkage to doing that and our own well-being as a people?
Yeah, Alvin, you basically set us in stone, as it were, in terms of the foundation of the conversation we're about to have here. And so I want to thank you as well. Let me just ask those on the live feed at this time, before we move across to Brother Sharu for his opening comments. Please share the live feed. Please share the live feed if your contacts. Make them know that Civic Vibes program is on, and they too can partake and participate of what is happening right here on social media. Brother Jeffrey Brisbane, you just logged in from Miami. Good evening to you. Peter Carbon made a comment already. We'll get to that comment in just a while. Althea Rennie, you are just logging in as well. Thank you very much. He says, good evening all. Peter Xavier, you're also there as well. Brother Sharo, you heard from Alvin Thomas. You heard the topic we want to discuss. I know you're very passionate brother when it comes to country, when it comes to young people. You mentioned it earlier. When it comes to business, especially young people are concerned. You also touched on, you also have a passion for, young people having their own business, own thriving business, that is. Brother Sharo, I know that is right down your alley. So let us hear from you now as we get the conversation going. Thank you.
One Loftus, Mr. Thomas well said. One thing I want to tell you, Loftus, I'm going to have an approach today on your program, and I'm going to be, we call it a bouillon approach. Mm-hmm. If you know what I mean. We're going to be straight down, because Dominicans have to understand the value of earning and the value of not settling for less. You understand? And that is the mindset that have been happening to my people back home for the past 20 years. And they have to understand that that every day they age, and they have to be able to be in a position that when they get older, that they can have some form of financial support or something to turn back to. And I'm only saying that in the starting of that conversation, because I want the young people and to understand that you're 20, you're 25, you're 40, you're not going to stay that age all your life. At that time, you jump in and you see way in, because we have a government that is basically not opening the right avenue for growth. And that have been happening for the past 20 years. Because I remember when I was in Dominica, I spoke to the Prime Minister and tell him that I was organizing that small business. And I remember giving this guy from Sean Douglas, a letter, because I had 5 persons to visit the Prime Minister. And when I went to that office of that Prime Minister, it was as if it was just not right. So I walked out. So my people have to understand that and I'm going to be on a bullion style with you today, my friend.
Yeah.
You have to understand that while they follow in a triple K, a CK, when it is in need for this particular group of persons in government to protect their personal gain, but at the end of that, they have nothing while they build mansions, and they can come on public radio and say that they can take their family for healthcare anywhere in the world. And we have to understand that, because we have to look at it too. One, I'm going to go direct again. One, look at the cannabis industry. Everybody's grabbing to it. This Prime Minister, and I'm going to say straight, this Prime Minister, because I'm going to call him Prime Minister because he do have the reign of Prime Minister. He's in the seat, whether he take it illegally or whatever means he get it. You understand? He know the cannabis industry can grow the economy. But it's just that poor people children will climb. The dreadlock man in the bush will start harvesting more cannabis, and it can turn out where he can be a successful businessman. He don't do that. Our neighboring islands are taking full advantage of it. Look at our water. This man go to Dubai. He have China contact. He have all kind of. This is the only Prime Minister, because we're talking economics. That is the only economy. That's the only Prime Minister in the history of our politics that have been traveled most of the world, and he has contact. Look at the Chinese things coming. Look at the blind people doing all them beautiful baskets and stuff. Why can't containers leave Dominica going back to these beautiful places? But again, one man want to showcase himself like he's Lord and Savior, when he have a ministers that's supposed to hold a portfolio, but they are not doing their work. So then our economy gonna fail. Nothing's going to happen, because that one man have 20,000 things in his head and want 20,000 people to believe he can do everything. And I'm going to be straight with you today. We got to say it as it is. We got to make sure the people understand. The people have to stand up and demand that they want answers when things are wrong. They have to stop getting this little petty crumb stuff and think that it is for them. Because in the next 10 years, those that are 20, 30 that listening and taking a little piece of this handout, in the next 20, 30 years, there'll be 50. What will they have? Anyway, so that's my approach for you today, my brother. Let's just hit the nail on the head and just let it be a bouillon thing for the Dominican people to understand. I will even speak Creole if I have to today.
Well, my brother, we have Creole enthusiasts out there as well. We have Creole listening.
Okay, parle Creole.
Right. Voila. In terms of what you touch on, brother Sharo, you are so right on that. In that, a lot of times we in Dominica, Dominica is blessed. Dominica is a rich country. Though the economy, the governance of the country itself is not where it's supposed to be. So persons tend to think that the country itself is not rich. We are not blessed. But you said it, we have our water, we have our natural resources out there. We have so many things going for us as a country that other countries are struggling to obtain. But for some reason, because of again, at least one line in the topic that we spoke of, the way that some persons get into office by the back door, as it were. They come there in not the right of ways. And so when these persons get into that seat, then that seat is on their mind to remain there forever and ever. Amen. And we have seen it. So I'm not speaking out of, figment of my own imagination here. We have seen it. If these guys were in office to produce so that the Dominican population by and large could benefit from their producing in whatever way, shape, or form, the country would be better. But when you have a bunch of people, Sharu, Brother Winston, and Thomas, and the people listening, when you have a bunch of people in government who will sit there and all they are prepared to do, it is to basically feather their nests, as it were, and also make themselves so comfortable that they are prepared to do whatever they have to do to rig the next election, to steal the next election, so that they can be on the political throne or continue on the political throne in Dominica. And then we, the people, have to put that straight. And I know we have been saying that ad nauseum, but we have to keep pounding that pavement, as it were, that message. I'm not straying from our topic, Brother Alvin, but here it is. Just this week, we had a perfect example of a dictator in the making, if he's not well entrenched yet. A young lady asked this brother a question, a bona fide question, Alvin. You are a prime minister of a country. A building of that magnitude is going up in your country, just under your nose, a stone throw away from your office. Added to that, that building, it is being erected in a very prestigious place in Dominica, where once a philanthropist in the name of Jean Ruiz lived. And so even from a cultural standpoint, that place holds great significance, Sharu. And for a journalist to be asking you as to what you know as prime minister, whether that building is in nature public or private, and you went on a tyrant, you went on a roller coaster, you went on a raging bull sort of attitude with that young lady. Alvin, we are right there. We don't need anything else to tell us what we are facing in Dominica. And Sharu said it right.
No.
And so we have to consider those things in moving forward and tell or ask ourselves rather whether we would want to continue with that kind of behavior for persons who say they are representing us. And so that is where the topic of elections come in. Proper electoral reform for Dominica, so that at least when persons come there, they will not be coming by the back door, as I said before. They will be coming with an agenda, and that agenda should be to serve the people of Dominica.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Lofty, and that's why I started off in my initial comments by making the connection, as it were, with the electoral reform, poor governance, and our economy, and we could make several linkages. So, and what I'm trying my best to do is to let people see that electoral reform is not a nebulous or something out there that has no connection or no relationship, because you rightly said it. If our persons who are putting themselves up for public office and the system is corrupt, meaning that you have, for example, an electors list of almost 75,000 names on it, when our population is 70,000, that is 5,000 more names that are likely to vote. And the last report from the OAS stated that the observers who made that observation, not me or you, that when they were in the polling station, they saw where there were several people with the same name, same demographics. Everything is the same. So it means that one person can go in there and vote several times. We don't have IDs. And if you have persons coming, as you say, through the back door, through our election process, and they come in as vagabonds and bandits and tyrants and thieves, then that's what you have going to govern the country. And therefore, you're not going to have a country that is economically sound. You're not going to have a country that is well governed. You're not going to have a country where there's transparency in government. So herein lies the connection between our electoral reform and what we get out of it. And that is why I'm hoping, and I'm still hopeful, that the people will be able to see that connection and say to themselves, as Shara rightly said, if you were 30 years, the election before the last one in 2019, and 4 years later or 5 years later, there is another election that was not done properly, you're 35 years old. You're almost 40. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's important. And the point that you made about the young reporter is so worth noting. And guess what? I don't know how many of you might have listened to it. You heard in addition to the tirade that the Prime Minister gave and leveled towards this young reporter, you heard what he said? He told the young reporter, and Matt, if you want to know how many properties I have, you can go to registry and you see all the properties I have. Properties that he have. So he have right there in public said to us, the Dominican people, and the young man who is 30 years, who doesn't have a piece of lot, who doesn't own a home, who cannot own a home, who can't have a business. Here the Prime Minister is saying to this young man on radio, national radio, I have a lot of properties.
Yeah.
If you want to see my properties, go to the registry.
Go to the registry. Yeah.
Let me put an input in that. If while you listen to that Prime Minister spoke on that young girl, brilliant, well-placed question. Nothing partisan about that question. Well said by that brilliant journalist. But if you listen to what he said he said soup. So right away, this young journalist, that might be the future of Dominica, he is talking about Sue to frighten her. So one time she know, I cannot come and say them stuff no more. So I have to be silent. You understand? Because if the Prime Minister sue, or you like to say the Prime Minister like to sue and all them kind of stuff. You see, we accept that, Loftus. The Dominican people are the ones who are accepting that kind of governance. You understand? And as long as the Dominican people understand that, listen, you come in there 20 years ago, you have assets of $20 million, and I had $10,000, I go down to $5,000, I want $10 million too. I want $1 million too. They have to have that kind of mindset. Forget about going behind a ban and drinking rum. Why do you drinking rum? They are making millions. Because the economy back home, it is not something that happened by mistake, you know. It is planned that we do not have a middle class, you know. And the ones before, I mean, we would call I will call some business names on a program. There's nothing saying wrong. The Astafans, the Nasif, and this stuff. They are feeling the effect of it. Because when the poor man don't have the financial resources to contribute, that's why most of them are sticking to that kind of politics, because they want their name to stay afloat. And I think I mentioned to you all many years ago, the Astafans in Nasif and them, when you come to Dominica, they're the one you feel like, they're the big shots, they're the big ones. But they know the economy is poor. They know the governance is poor. They know the corruption and the illegal activities that is taking place with our passport money and our resources, the people's money. And these people will keep quiet. Because why? They want to hold on to that straw for their name not to drop to the level of the middle class or the lower class. We have to take that for what it is. And another thing too, Mr. Thomas, Byron, all of these people, number one, I don't even see the need. Why? I personally, this is my own view. A man of that level have just dropped his whole career, his whole self-esteem, his integrity down. He dropped his name. That Sir Byron is no longer Sir. I might have to put Junior or something else. Because I'm telling you why. There's no way that a man in that level should accept any job like that, knowing the character of our Prime Minister. He should say, you know what? My name is of high repute. I cannot play with my name. But again, you see the thing they call money and greed. Greed and a mindset of people here. This government is in power for like say 20 years. So the child that was 1 year 20 years ago is 21. So that's what he knows. The one that was 20 years ago is 40. So that set of people, they're settling for less. You understand? They're settling for less. But they're not aware to themselves that, listen, it's economics. Listen, I'm getting older. I'm not working, I have no social security. 2, I have no insurance. My legs are not strong like before when I used to run behind WCK or Serenade or whatever band it is. And while they're enjoying it, they're not looking at the future another 10 years where they might be. But while they're following that kind of old politics, the man that giving them the little bit of crumbs is moving up the scale with more millions. Okay? So it is set, doctors, it is set to have a dependency of people who depend on one family. And that one family gonna be the scarlet.
Sharo,
so we have to take it for what it is. It's not against nobody.
Sharo, I know you in Dominica when you were there. You had a business. Can you, Sharo, as a businessman that is, sort of levels out for the people listening and watching now? How, in your mind, as a businessman, the economy is related to elections, to general elections? Just create that nexus for us, please. You are mute. You are mute. You are mute. We're not hearing you. Yes.
The economy.
Yes.
With any falling economy and with any bad governance, okay, with anything, with bad governance, you cannot have good governance. Okay, with governance coming into by any means necessary illegally, you're already running the country illegal. We have to understand you're running your decline. You're not. Number one is negative energy. I believe in that positive energy and negative energy. Okay, with anything negative, you will hardly get positive results, bro. You're not gonna have an economy to talk about. This group of fellas are not about economy. They're about being in power, protecting their personal gain because they have reasons, and they don't care about the economy where it's going to help. The governance going to help with the economy. Their governance can help with the economy. It's not about economy for them, bro. When you have governance, a good government with brilliant ideas, and take and consider the resource of the state, the people is the main resource of your land, then you will have something to talk about. These people don't worry about us. Look at this. Millions of dollars go out to foreigners. You know how much million of that $1 million could be circulating in Dominica? You understand? That's where governance come in. The people not seeing that? Are the Dominican people blind to see, listen, that kind of government, that kind of policies is not going to develop the economy, it's not going to develop other people's businesses? You know? If I am your prime minister and everything for me is foreign, and it's a thing with my Dominican people long time, you know. I remember time I was on the radio and I said, you know, if I come on the radio and I say that the Rosa River is running fresh water, Dominican will say, oh, and if a white man come and a white man say, it's gold, it's melted gold running, all Dominicans will run it for a bucket and take that same water, you know. You get it?
Yeah.
So it's not about it's not about governance and business and economy. It's the kind of people you select to govern your country. And with good governance, you will have good results. With people who are there because of their loyalty, their integrity, people who put country first and they decide, you know what, I'm working, I'm getting a salary, I'm doing a job for the people. Then your economy will grow. Then your business will develop because you have things in place. But we are one man talking about electricity. You're talking about the water. You're talking about health. You're talking about the hospital. You're talking, and we have a guy. You're talking about finance. You have a man like McIntyre. The Prime Minister have to talk on behalf of McIntyre. The Prime Minister have to talk on behalf of the Security Minister. The Prime Minister have to do everything. When they do get a chance, you have to say, with the great words of the Prime Minister. So, what economy are we going to have? When the people are in positions that hold the mandate for health, security, finance, cannot come forward and explain to the people. Loftus, tell me how it's going to be, Loftus. Tell me. Is the people are accepting it, Loftus? The people have settled for less. And we have to change the mindset of the people and say, listen, all you have to want more.
True.
When a man get a little house, 2x4 house, and it's not on pillars so he can extend his family. Have you looked at the housing the housing system in Dominica under this government? It's to keep you poor. Whereas I'm giving you something, but you cannot extend, you cannot multiply. So if I give you a little 2-bedroom house with a little platform, a little thing, and your daughter, you have 2 daughters, 3 daughters in the next 4 years, one get pregnant, 2 pregnant, I cannot tell you, oh look, it's only pillar, put 2 blocks downstairs. That's economic growth.
True, true.
But he's not doing that. He put 5 people in one room, they make 2, 3, 7 in the same one room. And even a government cannot consider growth for its people because people multiply.
True.
So what are you talking about? You know how many people living in the apartments? They're not working, they cannot fix. Yes, it's nice to give them a house. Everybody will happy you give them a thing. I already tell you again, Loftus, if I cut off on that thing. I said to Dominicans already, I can go to the countryside, come down here for a white dude or a Yankee, come down to Dominica, and I decided going for politics. Go in a rum shop in the countryside. Look at 5 fellas they're drinking a little Zaid, $1, $2 Zaid. Well, I don't know if a Zaid is $10 now in Dominica. Dominica ridiculous. So drinking a little Zaid. I come, I buy myself a Guinness, the most expensive one, and I just say, give everybody a drink. And the man I see that talking the most and have the leadership thing, I give him a drink like mine. Next day if I come, he said I'm his best friend.
True.
That's the kind of mindset our people have. You know, they don't mind going at Loftus Mansion. Loftus not giving them nothing, you know. They have a little 1-bedroom house and 5-10 children in it, and they don't even have flushing toilet. But they're invited by Loftus home. They will say, oh, Loftus is my friend. I can never forget. And I'm going to tell you one other thing. When I used to live in Scottsdale, the fisherman take his biggest fish and eat him Charles Maynard, you know.
Politician then.
And I tell him, and just want to say, that's a friend more. Charles Maynard is my friend.
Just break, Sharo, just break it down so that the people don't know. Charles Maynard was the Palrep then, right?
Yeah, he's Charles. Yeah, I think it was Charles Maynard. He was the Palrep of. And I said to that fisherman, I said, you know, he could pay you for that fish. But you know your neighbor, they cannot pay you for that fish. You know your other neighbor on the left side cannot pay you for that fish. You know if you had caught that fish in 2 or 3 or 4 and you share to each neighbor, you'll get more blessings than giving a rich man, a man can afford to buy a fish because you want him to be your friend.
True, true.
He's not the one that's going to lift you up if you fall. It's your neighbor that's going to call the hospital or the 911, or well, the ambulance if only have one back home to come and help you. It's not him. When you take the fish, you go eat it in his family. You think you're going to taste in it? So it's the kind of setting we have. And that's the brilliant thing about that prime minister. He's very, very psychologically inclined. He knows how to get the people, the less common sense one, where you want them. And we cannot take that from him. It's just that we and the people in the opposition that love the country and want a better country for their brothers, their cousins, and for their friends have to demand that we need an economy, we need the best healthcare, we need I have a mansion, I want a mansion too. You have to set for that, and then we will see something happening, bro. I hope I answer your question because it's something that really get me really passionate, you know. So I
know. That's why I said you're a very passionate brother. So that is why I know you will let it go as it will, right?
Yeah, you have me sweating already, so you should know. And I'm in AC Central.
So Alvin, I'm coming in just a bit to you, but let me just push back or add, to 1 or 2 points that Sharu touched on earlier. Sharu basically, quote unquote, accredited the prime minister for being, or the man who sits in the prime minister chair. Let me correct myself. Yeah, to me, he's not a prime minister. A prime minister is supposed to be able to have some qualities in terms of leadership, effective leadership that Roosevelt Scarry doesn't have. So he sits in the chair, and I accept that, and we can move on. Sharu accredited him to having some psychological skills to get the people where he want them in terms of givings and their little trinkets and whatever it is. That's fine, Sharu. That's fine. That's a fine quality to have. But at the end of the day, the real deal for me on that point is, what is the motive behind Roosevelt Scarry's giving? What is his motive?
Bro, we all know his motive is to be in power at any means necessary. He cannot lose an election. We know that. The Dominican people know that. His supporters know that. The outsiders know that. He's going to have to try. And don't be scared. And well, I don't want to say scared. Don't be surprised that his next step is to be president of the island. Because being president of the island, he basically controls. And believe me, he ain't no fool. You see, we take him lightly and he come with his switched up. Because I remember managing Midnight Groovers at a time, and I was going to Miami, and they had a convention in somewhere in Salibia somewhere. I can remember that clearly. But I spoke to him several times about small business. I can never forget that. And while I there, his eyes fell on me. Midnight Groovers was playing, and I went there to finalize everything, because from this same morning I had to go to Miami. And he said, and his eyes fell in my eyes, and he said, "Oh, the small business people, we're gonna be fixing everything, you know, you're gonna have it, and we're gonna." His eyes fell in. This is psychologically motivated.
Because why? He knew that
he know what to say, when to say, how to say, and he's not a great talker, but he know how to just hit the hammer, the nail on the head, boom, and people settle for less. You get it? Like when he spoke about.
Well, Sharu, to tell you plain truth, brother, with no disrespect to the chair or the office of the prime ministership, the qualities that you mentioned is that of a con artist. A con man behave like that. To know what
I don't have to say it. I don't have, you're the one.
To know what to say, when to say, to get somebody to either jump.
You have a right to analyze it how I say it. You are free to say it. You can say con artist, you can say trickster, you can say protecting personal gain and all them stuff. But we all know what it is, so what it is. So there's many ways to skin a cat. So skin it your way.
We have
Alvin, you there?
Yeah, idea. But you know, I mean, Sharon made a point a while ago in terms of he has to protect that turf. And we all know why he had to protect that turf. Because again, let's go back to, as I said earlier, why do people put up themselves for office? Why do I come up and say, hey, I want to represent the people of Roseau or Scottsdale or Sufri or Mao? Why? What's your reason? Okay. Now we have had elections in the past. Okay. Those of us who are old enough to know and who have participated in elections prior to this tainted type of elections have had elections in the past. We had the LeBlanc elections, we taken over by Patrick John. We had Eugenia Charles elections. We had, Edison James election. So we've had elections in the past, and you had people coming in. I mean, I remember, I'm trying to think which one of those persons, either from LeBlanc era, Patrick John era, Eugenia era, or Edison James era that were in office and left office with a mansion. I'm trying to remember that. I can't recall of any. But like I said, when he responded to the reporter on Friday, he said, go to the restaurant, you see my properties. Now, we don't want to get into that IPO situation right now. That's a different story. That would be for a different program. But we know exactly how he came into politics, where he is today, and what he has to protect and to lose. But I will say, and I think Sharo made reference to it in his initial opening comments. the evangelization, if I may use that term, the evangelization that have to take place with our young people. That's where it has to go, Lofty. It has to take place with our young people. And I'm saying so with no apologies. Those of us who look at world history, look at what's happening across the globe, will see that young persons are the one taking the charge. And that is why the programs like this, what we're having today, is geared towards that purpose. We have to continue and we have to present the message in such a way that not only Roosevelt Skerritt, is able to change people's minds we will not use the same tactics that is used in the con artist tactics, but we have to be able to show this young man who, as Sharo is saying, who is 30 years today and 10 years from now, have to ask the tough question, where do I see myself? Do I have insurance?
That's what I'm saying.
Do I have something to leave back for my kids? You know, if I fall sick now, do I have the means to take a trip or Pipui to Antigua or Trinidad? You know, that's how we have to drive the message across to our young people, so they can see their role, they can see themselves, and let's face it, Lofty and Charo. At the end of the day, we all ask the questions in any given situation: what's in it for me? And the what's in it for you is to make your life better. You're a small businessman, you have a little tire shop, you have a little bakery, you have a little whatever it is, and you want to grow. I mean, Lofty, you're in Dominica, you walk the streets, you see, I mean, we don't need the IMF to come and tell us, or any report to come and tell us. You see what the economy is like. I mean, you see it. You see the young boys on the block. I mean, what's next month? Is it, I believe, next month, May, June? Students going to start graduating. Summer is coming, so they're going to end their high school career, their high school. I mean, how many of them that's going to be out of high school come this June, July, or whenever the school season closes? And how many of them that can say, well, okay, I can gainfully get a job somewhere, or, you know, I'm an electrician, or I'm a plumber, so I'm going to start my business. I mean, when the Prime Minister makes the comment that $214 million went out of the country, $214 million, that's almost $250 million. And most of it had to do with construction. What about the young electrician, the young plumber, the young contractor? Was he able to get something from that $214 million? And he's so naive in what he says. Even like when he responded to Matt and the reporter, he didn't even say, well, okay, $214 million went out. However, so much retained by taxes. Yeah. Or local governments were able to benefit by so much. Yeah. So I think that is where we have to take the conversation and see how we can get our young people to accept the message and to bring about the change.
Yeah, Alvin, we have to take a break in the next 5 minutes time, and Brother Sharo as well. But Alvin, I want to ask you the same question that I asked Sharo earlier. In terms of the topic we are discussing, really, I know we are sort of trying to connect the dots, but how in your mind, Alvin, how in your mind does unfair elections, general elections that is, have some kind of bearing on an economy that is stagnated?
Oh, yes, it has a lot. It has a lot, Lofty. Because first of all, you use the word correctly, unfair. Mm-hmm. If the election is unfair, it means therefore that, think of it this way. Let's suppose you have two teams playing a football match, and the rules of the game is skewed, or there is no rules, and one team allegedly won the game. And he now that team's supposed to represent, let's say, Dominica overseas. They ain't going to represent us properly because they've won the game in a mess up way to begin with. So the results or the outcome won't be good. It means that the people who allegedly claim to have won didn't won properly. And that is what we have. So if you have an unfair election and you have a guy coming in to office by default, first of all, like Cheryl said, he has no vision, no outlook as to what to do, how to do it. And that's the problem that we have. That's why you find the prime minister wants to be the voice piece on every ministry, everything, because the young folks he brought in there from wherever the various constituency they represent, they don't even know what to do. They have no idea. Bear in mind, Lofty, you know, in the past, political parties would contest an election with what is called a manifesto. And in that document, they would say, well, okay, this is what we intend to do. These are our plans. This is what we'll do for you. And, you know, and by and large, all of that should reflect itself in the annual budget presented to Parliament. So you take bits of it. You say, well, I'm going to build the airport for you. In your first year of office in the budget, you may try to do that. You say, I'm going to improve the hospital. Your second term in office, you might put that in the budget. This past government didn't even have a manifesto the last election, Lofty. Did they have a manifesto? Did they say to the people, this is my 5-year plan?
Not at all.
They were not interested in the development.
Yeah. All right, Alvin, we have to take a break right about now. But Sharu, you being a small businessman in Dominica, I want you, Brother Sharu, to sort of give the listening public an idea. How was it for you in Dominica trying to, employ people, trying to have that business stay afloat?
You mean under this administration?
When we come back.
Since that administration came into power, bro.
After the break.
Yeah.
After the break. Think about it, and then we'll go a little deeper in that. All right, folks. Yes, we are having this candid conversation here about how does unfair elections contribute to a stagnated economy. That is a conversation under the microscope here this afternoon with Alvin Thomas and Brother Sharu. And of course, your comments as well. It is 7 o'clock right about now. That is time for us to take an all-important break at this time. Let's take this one from Peter Tosh. It's only the poor man, as Brother Sharu said, I feel it in the system. We'll come back in a while.
Got to find a solution to this pollution. Oh. Got to find a solution to this pollution. Yeah. Got to find a solution to this pollution. Oh, got to find a solution to this pollution. The poor man I feel it. Oh, the poor man I feel it. Yeah. The poor man I feel it. Oh, the poor man feel it. Yeah. Gas gone up.
And talking about gas gone up again, as of when? Yesterday or today?
Phone bill gone.
So Peter Tosh is right on the ball. The poor man, I feel it indeed,
Tax gone up.
Especially when the economy is struggling like it is in Dominica.
Can't take the fuss, and there has got to be a solution to this pollution. Yeah.
So yes, the next hour we're gonna talk solution as Brother Peter Tosh is admonishing.
The solution.
What can we do as a people?
Whoa. Gotta find a solution to this pollution. Only the poor man I feel, yeah. The poor man I feel, oh, the poor man feel, I know. Only him feel.
My good buddies in Europe listening at this time, good evening to you folks. My brother in Turkey, you're up and you say it's early, but you're listening. what is happening here. Yes, the numbers to call 245-2396 or 615-9470. Let's get back to our panel here. We had a pending question for Brother Sharu just before the break. Brother Sharu, yes.
Yeah, man. Hello?
Yes, you're there. We're hearing you.
Loftus, I don't think the poor man feel it in Dominica, you know. Because the poor man was feeling it in Dominica and rice gone up, all that gone up. The poor man will have a different strategy. They would take the streets of Roseau. Yeah, the poor man don't feel it. The poor man feel it in places like Antigua, Haiti. These people, they come, the French people. But Dominica is a special set of people. I don't know. Well, yeah, you asked me a question before we left for the short break. Can you repeat it to me again?
Basically, I just wanted you to sort of relive your experience, as it were, trying to maintain a business in Dominica.
One here, Loftus. One, I'm gonna go directly to a main factor that affects our economy is the financial institution to have a great part to play with the survival of any small business. And unless the financial institutions do not understand, to every three jobs created, small business people create two, so that we can have a better economy, then we're going to go down like what we're going down, especially with that kind of governance that make it even worse for small business. I will tell you something. I was in business on the United Workers' Party. And I could tell you the dollar was circulating. And I'm not, some people might think I'm basically a partisan supporter of the United Workers' Party. But I will let them understand that when Ian Pinard, because I used to be in Point Michel, Ian Pinard went up with Skerrit, because Skerrit was one of my cousin's friend at that time, my best cousin friend. He was a young guy, the Bath Road come on, and you know, we had that kind of energy. Ian, you know, them guys, we decided like, you know, let's see if we can have a direction, but it all happened for greed. You see, sometimes we see people in jackets and tie and people looking very quiet, but you have to adapt, be around them to really know what kind of personality they are, you know? Under this administration, bro, I had, number one, starting a business in Dominica, it is so difficult, especially when you come from a poor family. You have to, I want to booyah it for you. You have to go to NDFD, your projection is, say your projection is $50,000. You have a brilliant idea, you have one of the most brilliant ideas that can make you a millionaire. But you not know Astapans, you not know Douglas, you know, I hope Douglas anyway. You need $50,000, you go NDFD give you $10,000. You're not going to say, no, you're a poor man, you're trying to do a business. And that's factors too, other than the political aspect of killing the economy by that government. So NDFD give you 10, you go to the Rosa criteria, they give you 10. When you look, you're making it 50,000, but you have 5 or 6 institutions owing. Our financial institutions are one of the greatest factors of a failing economy in Dominica because it cripples small business. And we get a government that came into power that just did not care one bit about the main resource of the country, which is the people, but their personal gain. Okay? So there was a decline, a great decline under this administration when it comes for the economy and small business, because small business was shutting down. Before that administration, you would see a lot of vendors going to St. Martin, picking up 1, 2 things, come by the roadsides, make a business out of it. And if they have a child, they will tell the neighbor's daughter that just left high school, front eye on my child for me, I'll pay you. So you had a dollar circulation. You had it going from one and coming to another too. But when this one come, this government came, they crippled the small economy. That's the middle class, the young ones like us that was trying to survive. 1. 2, we had the financial institution. And 3, that governance was never about people. And I repeat it again, it was never about people. It was about their personal gain. And what he did is that Charles Savrin, I'll call him because I tell you today, I'm going to be all out. Charles Savrin or Savrin, the general of Dominica, which is my president, whatever means he entered there. Skerrit uses his psychology, keep him quiet, put him as a president. You have Crazy T, and I want to bring facts to you because we're talking economy. We have Crazy T. Crazy T is the only man in the history of the world that take a prime minister head and put it on a donkey body and walk all around everywhere with it. Full disrespect. It's my partner. He keep Crazy T quiet because he don't Crazy T to put his head on a mule. So he had Crazy T. You had Julius Timothy, and these are facts. I want Dominican people to understand how Mr. Psychology work on us, and we accept it, and we have a failing economy, and we're not going to get better unless we completely get rid of that complete government. He take Julius Timothy. Julius Timothy was recognized as the financial wizard of Dominica. Good man. I don't get what people say. Good man. One day Julius came to my study, said, Sharu, what do you think about crossing over now? Because I wanted Julius to be prime minister once. I said, Timber, you're going to join that party? Tim, if you join that party, you're going to lose all your respect. That was my words to Mr. Julius Timothy. I hope he's getting better where he is. He joined the party because, again, the economy is failing under this administration. So Julius Timothy, which is a businessman, have no other choice to join the wagon. Just like we have fellas like Robbie Tong. If I'm low, let me know. We have Robbie Tong. We had, what's this guy? This guy, Deepex. We had some other guys. They joined the cabal. Because why? They want to keep afloat. They want their business. They need favors. Because we have a finance minister that don't know his A's to his B's, but other than his psychological tricks to get people where you want them. So the economy have been failing from since that time. I spoke to Matt. I had organized a small business association because I saw that to see if we could all come together to cut costs on shipping and, you know, people doing things together. It didn't work because the prime minister said they don't care about his small business people. You understand?
Why,
so all
why that initiative didn't work? That small business setup you tried?
Because why? After UWP came out of office, I saw a decline in business. Mm-hmm. Number one, I'm going to tell you something, Loftus. When UWP was in power, we just call it carpet, a kind of a thing you could just tear and just put on the floor. They have a different name to it. You know them long time when you have a little wooden house you buy and you put on your floor, it have different style. That was extinct. That wasn't selling Dominica no more. Because we had a place called Nassif had a store by the bayfront. He used to sell the real carpet rugs, we call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they call it carpet rugs. Rugs was a thing that was said. Everybody was putting rug and they wanted UWP. They had forget a little plastic thing as the fans and Nassif used to have to tear and you could just
carpet.
Linoleum
carpet, yeah.
Linoleum, they call it. Linoleum.
Yeah, that's the right term. It at a time, bro, that wasn't in Dominica no more. When the Labour Party came in power, one day in front of my shop, I see a man have that on his back carrying, going in his home. I say, whoa, we finished. Look in the back. Because people wasn't buying that.
Going back to linoleum.
So it's all about strategy. And these guys came into office without a plan for a country. They came into office from the start with a plan for personal gain. And we had a clique of people, as I tell you, he make Timothy quiet. Because Timothy was the ghetto man. People in Goodwill, Tarish Street was Timothy. Charles Savre is a man, despite what Charles Savre do, if Charles Savre take a mic and he start talking, you're going to have to listen. Because he know how to express himself. So you keep him quiet. Well, again, it's Crazy T. You don't Crazy T to put him as a mule on a thing. He take all these people and made them his friend and financially set them up. And we have to look at the strategy about the economy. Because these are people that are main factors in ways of developing the economy. Because Crazy T is a businessman. Brilliant businessman. Julius is a brilliant wizard when it comes to finance, and the others he wrap around his fingers. But these are the people who can contribute and produce and help country have not been wrapped by one man, and that one man is the prime minister. And what he say goes, because they're depending on favors from him. So are we going to have a growing economy when these people that were main factors of the economy right now are depending on a straw? Does that make sense to you?
It does make sense, Sharo.
That's what happened. And we still have that kind of mindset happening because what he does right now is come and speak on any matter affecting Dominica like his Lord and Savior and my people. I will repeat again. A people that was so loving, friendly, have to settle for less. My people need to take the streets and demand questions and answers from that prime minister and his cabal. Look at Duncan Stowe. And it's not nothing personal against these guys. Whatever property and thing I have, they can take it because people in it can't even handle it properly for me. So I don't care. Let me tell you about Duncan Stowe. Duncan Stowe knows in his heart what he's doing is wrong. We all know it's all about money, l'argent, greed. They have enough, you know. But they want multiples and multipliers and multiples and multipliers of more. My people supposed to see Duncan and call him traitor. Have you ever seen anybody call Duncan and say, Duncan, I want answers from you because you're supposed to be the one talking about electoral reform? The prime minister have nothing to do with electoral reform. And people listen, the media ask him, why one of the media guys have said to you, sir, where is Duncan Stowe? Not once I've ever heard we talk about electoral reform, Alvin. Have you ever heard one of the media guys ever say, sir, where's Duncan Stowe? No. Duncan Stowe is supposed to be coming to the prime minister and demand, sir, I have to fix it. The people are after me. The people are after me. The security minister is supposed to come to him now and say, sir, I need to fix it. The people are after me. But the people are not after none of them. The people will come and we'll have an Easter bunny and they'll come with their kids, which is cool. They'll come for Easter bunny and they'll be looking for eggs because we never had Easter bunny eggs. So this is the psychology that works. And brilliant, brilliant. Melissa Popon, brilliant. But all the ministers and all the people, all the parliament representatives and all these people in position, know in their heart, they are killing a country. They kill the country. They cripple the country. And none of them have the audacity to stand up and say, you know what, Mr. Prime Minister, I have enough from you. I'm not going to be your toy boy. I'm not going to be your toy girl. We're going to demand you answer questions. The police, and we talk all that have a lot to do with your economy, bro. Because when things are not properly planned, you cannot execute. You cannot be a baker baking bread and you have to make the flour, you have to grind the grain, you have to do everything and think you will have energy to come and sell the bread. When that man come and have a press conference with you all and the man go at his one, the man start eating his big, whatever special turkey from Dubai or wherever, you think it's the things he discussed if you only have planned to remember when you have other things to do. He have his family, he have his children, he have his big land plantation and growing backyard farm to take care of. He have his security detail, you have to make sure they're well trained and well ready for when Ukraine ready. You have all of that. So when he come and he talk about the airport, do you think after he talk about the airport, he leaves and he go and deals with the airport? No. This banana tree might dropped on the ground. He might have to go and put a pickaxe under the banana tree. But if we are the right people, and I'm repeating myself to you, Loftus, and your group of listeners, if we had the right people and we kept them accountable for their salary and what they have to present to the people. Byron, that thing there. Why $650,000 for something you could just give everybody a card? Why? And we accept it. That is money for the economy. A $61,000 rent. Where in the world do people pay $61,000 for a man to live in a house? I mean, come on, that's economy.
True.
And your hospital have nothing. Your nurses your nurses are suffering. 2 policemen playing Rambo to protect one man. There are many in the police force that are affected and they see the injustice, but they're afraid to step out and say, sir, I had enough. I am standing with the people for change. Unless we start having that mindset, our economy can never grow. Our dollars will disappear because this prime minister have a love for foreigners and a liking for Dominicans.
And not just love for foreigners, Sharu. Thank you for a very solid point you made here. Not just love for foreigners. I can tell you from a position of fact, F-A-C-T, fact, that some of these foreign companies, Alvin Thomas, they are not contributing financially to the DSS pool. And so these monies that are generated here, Alvin Thomas, by some of these big companies, all their money just go overseas. And even some of the workers, I'm being told, that are working with these companies, some of the deductions that are being taken from them, you see it on the salary slip that's supposed to be going to the DSS coffers. Some of these monies have not been into the coffers of the DSS. And so I am telling you that as a position of fact. I've been told when I called that at least one or two of these businesses, these big businesses that is, they have made certain arrangements. You heard the word, Alvin. They made certain arrangements with these big businesses so that they can honor their commitment as it pertains to the DSS contributions. And so Sharu is bang on point.
Oh yeah.
So much corruption, bro.
And not only that, just to concretize that point that Sharu made there about Duncan Stowe, we need to call out Duncan Stowe for who he is.
Yeah.
Because Duncan Stowe, Alvin Thomas, and the listening public cannot or should not be made to get away with saying one thing yesterday, as it were, at his swearing in as chair of the Electoral Commission, and have nothing so far to show in terms of action in that department. Here Duncan Stowe, when he had that swearing in before Charles Savre as to what he pledged to the Dominican people. And that is why I support Sheru and other persons who said we have to continue to call out Duncan Stowe and that lame duck Electoral Commission.
I, Duncan Stowe,
do swear
that I will faithfully bear true allegiance to the Commonwealth of Dominica.
that I will faithfully bear true allegiance to the Commonwealth of Dominica.
So help me God.
So help me God.
And then we do the oath of office. I, Duncan Stowe,
do swear
that I will faithfully execute the office of Chairman of the Electoral Commission without fear or favor, affection or ill will, and that in the execution of the functions of that office, I will honor, uphold, and preserve the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Dominica. So help me God.
So help me God.
Alvin, you know how powerful these words are. Sharu,
very
you know how
powerful.
these words are, right?
Very powerful, very powerful. And you would recall on a previous program we have, I made some comments as it relates to the commission and the fact that what it means by taking the oath of office. That's an oath you swear on. You swear on the Bible to that oath, and that is what you have to live by. And I agree with Sharo.
Sorry, these guys don't know about the Bible, bro.
And not just that, just listen again, Alvin, before you make your point. Listen to Don. He had this swearing in. That's fine. He lift up his right hand on a Bible and this and that and uphold Constitution, this and that. These were just mere words, if you ask me. Hear him now in terms of a further pledge to the Dominican people as to what he will do for and on behalf of the people.
Humbled by the confidence reposed in me by His Excellency, the President, to serve as Chairman of the Electoral Commission for this present term. I am aware of the Herculean task ahead. However, I am ready to undertake the challenges that come with this job. I pray God that I do not disappoint the people as I seek to perform my duties to the best of my abilities. I think at this time, I'll take a pause and wait for my feet to be wet as I take up the tasks.
People, one more time, just to drive it home, one more time.
I am humbled by the confidence reposed in me by His Excellency, the President, to serve as Chairman of the Electoral Commission for this present term. I am aware of the Herculean task ahead. However, I am ready to undertake the challenges that come with this job. I pray God that I do not disappoint the people as I seek to perform my duties to the best of my abilities. I think at this time, I'll take a pause and wait for my feet to be wet as I take up the tasks.
Well, his feet well dry, you left us, and he better go to God and say, pray God, say on, pray God.
That comes with this job. I hope that I do not disappoint the people in the execution of my duties. Duncan Stowe?
Yeah.
Particularly, my brother, you have been a total disappointment so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Charo is correct. Absolutely. I mean, these folks, they must understand that when they hold these offices, they serve at the pleasure of the people. They serve at the pleasure of the people. It's the Electoral Commission is a creature of the Constitution. That's the people's Bible. So when you accept those offices, that of president, prime minister, chairman of the commissioner's office, you serve at the pleasure of the people. The people have a right to demand of you. They're not asking your favor. They have a right. And I agree with Charo. We have to hold more of those persons fit to the fire. They are accountable. And it's time Dominicans understand that. And he's right as well. When people give an impression that electoral reform starts and begins with Roosevelt's carrot. It does not. Why do we have an electoral commission? The only responsibility the government having is to ensure when the legislation is ready for submission to Parliament that it is in a manner to be presented. That is their responsibility, to make sure that the legislation goes through whatever it is through the legal offices and that it is in a form to go. But the Electoral Commission has a very integral part, a very major part in ensuring that this reform and what is required are put in place. And as such, Duncan Stowe, as chairman of the commission, has that responsibility along with his commissioners.
Sure.
And the people has a right to demand of him. But let me also make a 1 point, though, in terms of when Charo made mention of the business areas. The poor governance has been so bad in Dominica, so bad. Let me just give you 2 examples. You would recall when Charles Savre, which is my very good friend too, my friend, Charles Savre, when he was a minister of government, how he went publicly as a minister and chastised a businessman in the person of Brisbane, Jerry Brisbane of Brizimat, because he didn't agree to a point of view. And we know what the outcome is. We had Austri as a sitting minister going on public radio and asking for the disappearance of the office, the person that holds the leader of the opposition in the country. The leader of the opposition, who happened to be Lennox Linton, he was the leader of the opposition. And he's saying publicly, while as a minister, Gasani Pomisi and Yalepi Misie, and he dispawet Misie Alepi. And we have up to today, we did not have the police do an investigation and call this minister to his office and say, what are you saying? What are you doing? What are you inciting? That is how bad we have gotten as far as poor governance and the bad economy in the country.
Can I say something?
Yes, Charo, go ahead. We have to take some comments in just a while. Yes, go ahead.
Alvin, Thomas, and Loftus, and the people who are listening through your forum. We have to understand, unless we take it serious, that we understand that we are dealing with a group of fellas that do not care about the Constitution. They have no respect for the Bible. You know, a man can preach the word of God, but it's what he practices that makes a difference. If you understand what I'm trying to say. We have, just like the opposition, Lennox. I don't care what people say. Lennox is a man of high integrity. And I said it already, I called it already a few times. I said, if Lennox wasn't a man of integrity, Lennox would have the biggest school out in the history of the world by a prime minister. Because he would do anything to keep Lennox quiet. So Lennox could relax in a mansion, maybe a little smaller than the one he have, and not say nothing, because Lennox and his team believe in the Constitution. They believe in the rule of law. They have respect for mankind, and the preaching or the reading of certain certain things out of the Bible. But when you have a group of people that are corrupt and have to protect their own personal gain, they know what they did, they know what they're doing. You think they're going to worry about the Constitution and the Constitution going to twist them? It's we as a people that have to keep to our Constitution as the opposition. The opposition is not Lennox and his people. The opposition are we, the people, who have an issue or is dissatisfied with the performance of a governance or a government, or dissatisfied with a minister. So at that time, because we're dissatisfied with his law, his attitude, his behavior, or his practices, we become the opposition because we are opposite. We are opposite his behavior, so we are against it. If you try to get the drift, I'm trying to bring across. So these people are not going to call Mr. Alvin Thomas. That was the time on the, let's go to, say, Edison James, Dame Eugene. This kind of people had respect for the Constitution. I will call his name. Charles Sabre is in public office. Charles Sabre do not have respect for the Constitution. If Charles Sabre had respect for the Constitution, which all you say is the Bible of the land or the state or whatever, he would not be sitting in the office he is there. If Austria had respect for the Constitution, after his utterances to cause harm to another native brother of the soil, would not be where he is there. If when a prime minister can say a man that's supposed to be in leadership, that's supposed to set examples for peace, love, and unity, can say to you, throw hot water when they come in front of your door, would not be where he is there if they had respect for the Constitution. And I want you all to understand what I'm saying. When you respect something, you abide by the rules of that. But again, it falls back to the people. If the people settle for less, change is a no. If the people settle for more and consider their values, change is a must. That's the only way we can have change. Them guys just want to see war. Yeah. Their mindset is set for see war. So all these people are in position, Alvin and Loftus, to protect and to secure the defense of that one man. And that one man feathers and contributes to them what they need. That's what's happening. And we need to accept it for what it is. So forget the Constitution, forget them kind words, Alvin, because we are dealing with a set of fellas that are not playing the game, are not running the country by laws of the Constitution. They're running the countries by laws of the protection. Bless one to you.
All right, folks, it is 28 minutes past the good old hour of 7 o'clock, and that means we have like 32 minutes to go. In the next half an hour thereabout, as I said earlier, we will sort of dovetail the conversation now into what can we do. Let us bring the action-orientedness of the program. What can we do as a people? What can we offer in terms of solutions in moving forward to the problems that have plagued us for so long? But let us take a little break now, musical break. We're going to hear a line or two from Bob, where he talks about go sing the truth. This afternoon for sure, Brother Sharu is speaking the truth, but Bob is singing the truth. Let's take a little from Bob. We'll be back in just a bit. Where are you, Brother Bob?
This old girlfriend of mine was letting me know why I am a hypocrite. From where all you fellas take calypso, and look where all you bring it. From a human rights champion to a defender of what we know to be wrong. a crisis. And look up Calypsonians. All you like ostrich, all you head bury in the sand. Yet you want to be a Calypso king. With these passive topics and excuses, you just come and sing. Go and sing the truth, Bob. Go and sing the truth.
Go and sing the truth, Bob, indeed, huh?
The judges and them, they don't like you, but the public will appreciate you. What do you have to lose? What you trying to prove? And when you sing what's true, they'll accuse you of airing your country's dirty laundry. Don't worry, the truth will make you free. Make you free.
Very, very powerful number indeed from King Bob in Dominica. Carl Kofi James is writing here, when your bed is made of greed and vanity of vanities is what you live for. This brother is writing. He ends by saying, your actions will always be in line of corrupt practices. That is a point from Brother Carl Kofi James listening on here. Josephine Williams writes, good evening to everyone. Good evening to you as well, Miss Williams. Adelaide Paul says here, the only thing that these guys care about is holding onto power. They don't care about the people. Jane Francois writes, the Prime Minister's wife asked for Suki's bakery to be shut down as well. All right. Alvin is commenting on the live feed as well in concurrence with some of the points mentioned here. Winsome Bentley says, very good points, Brother Sharu. So Sharu, somebody is agreeing with you here. Earl Francis writes, my beautiful island that was heading upwards in the 80s and 90s is now the third poorest island in the Caribbean, and it hurts so much. Jeffrey Brisbane writes, Sharu, I love it from the heart. Patricia Zama writes, the truth will forever haunt them. Many more comments here coming on the live feed. Thank you very much, folks. Those of your comments I did not read. It was not intentional, but we have to move on here. But nonetheless, we got the gist of you guys enjoying and basically, you know, feeling good about what you're hearing this afternoon. We are now sort of veering off into the action-oriented part
but
of the discussion. And that is
let me
make Brother Alvin Thomas and Brother Sharu as to just, we have been talking problems. What about offering solutions now, gentlemen?
Yeah, but let me just say quickly on that as we go into that segment of the solution. I see where the brother is coming, man, and as I've said before, that fight that we have to take on and that challenge must be fought from within and outside, which means those of us in the diaspora, those of us in Dominica have to take on that fight. It cannot be a fight just fought at home alone.
True.
And so I share his passion, but I tend to disagree with him in terms of the Constitution, because I'm a personal stickler for the law and the Constitution. And while those guys, starting on the Prime Minister, who made a comment a while back saying no law, no Constitution will prevent him from doing whatever he has to do, I believe we have a Constitution and have to be guided by our Constitution. Yes, they are frustrating the process. They are doing things which is contrary to Constitution, contrary to the law. But we now must not follow in that suit and say, well, forget the Constitution. This is what we have to go by, in addition to doing what needs to be done on the ground. And as far as the solution, which is what you're coming to now, I've said so repeatedly, and I will say it again. One, we have to start with the young people. There's no doubt about that, okay? When folks, how should I put it? The older you get, the more set you are in your ways. So it's much more difficult, as they say, to teach old dogs new tricks. So that's why you start with a pup, a young dog, you teach it new tricks, as against trying to teach an old dog new tricks. So we got to start with the young people. Secondly, we have to take the conversation to the level where the guy on the street could understand, boy, you know, this Lofty, this brother is making sense, you know, this sister is making sense. What's in it for me? a couple years ago when one of the Bushes Bush was running for election, he had a 4-letter word or 5-letter word. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? That was his slogan. Simple question. Nothing to say, well, whatever. He just asked the Americans people, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? And I think that's a question any Dominican should be able to answer. So when we meet the guys on the block in Soufriere, in Scott, said in Granby, whatever, you say to this young man, tell me, Lofty, are you better off now than you were 5 years ago or 20 years ago before that government came into office? And he might give you a variety of response. He might say, yes. He might say, well, boy, that man helping me out, that man give me an apartment, or that man, and that is where the conversation will then go. Okay, they give you an apartment. What else? Are you able to pay the light bill in the apartment? Is the apartment owned by you? So you have to touch not just the minds, but the hearts. The minds and hearts have to go together. So in terms of what are the solutions, we have to get to the ground. The evangelization has to be there. When Christ was around evangelizing, he didn't stay only in the temple, he went around. He went to quote unquote the sinners. He went to the poor area, the destitute. So we have to get to the ground, bring the message there, and touch the hearts and minds of these young people and help bring about the change.
In a nutshell, Alvin, you're talking about engaging the people.
Engaging the people.
In meaningful ways.
Engagement has to be there. Yes, right. Lofty. Yes. Cool. Yes.
Brother Sharu, your ideas in terms of, helping us deal with some of the issues we're facing. Your mic is off. Your mic is off.
I'll be a pro by the next time if we ever have that program. I apologize.
No problem.
Alvin, I respect law and order. I'm a very law and order kind of person. But if you're a pastor and every time you come to church, the pastor hitting you the Bible in your head every time, hitting you the Bible. I'm not going to say that the pastor hitting me the Bible every time. I'm going to tell that pastor, you got to stop hitting me with the Bible in my head. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. I am not saying we have to ignore the Constitution. That's the law of the land, But when people manipulate the system of the Constitution for their own personal gain, we have to use reverse psychology to get back neutral. That's all I'm saying to you, and I'm leaving it there. You see that kind of approach, like Lennox and stuff. There are times things have to change. Like me, if I was in Dominica and in opposition, I would print T-shirts. I would put scary head. I would do all kind of stuff like they do too. Because at the end of the day, that's the kind of method they want to teach. The young people are going to listen. Negativity is a bad thing, but people adapt to negative things faster than positive vibes. Lennox will come very professional, very statesmanship. But the man that come and say, "Je te glosho aleo vini," everybody, whoo! I mean, we have to understand it. But back to getting the resolution for this kind of bad governance in Dominica.
Yeah, just to stick up in there, Cheryl. In the days of the rights in America, the racism thing, when racism was hot in America, and you had, for example, these two guys. Whenever I get to listen to them, I read about them, they were very effective, and that's what you're saying. But they had two totally different approach to the common problem of racism. You had Martin Luther King, who was singing, preaching, kneeling down. The softer side of life. The softer side of life.
The Constitution
in terms of protest action. The sit-ins and the whatever. But you had this other guy, Malcolm X. This guy was no singer. A matter of fact,
action.
He preached about swinging. Not singing. He said, my brother Martin Luther is singing, but I'm prepared to do the swinging.
You have to swing back.
So if you punch me, I'm going to punch you back. We are not advocating for violence, but sometimes you have to meet a man where he is. And with the level of brutality that is exhibiting in Dominica today, no disrespect to Lennox, as you said, full of integrity, full of honor, full of this. But to me, That sort of soft man politics and
Constitution.
Turn the other cheek to receive another slap. That sort of mentality, even Alvin exposing for the youth. The youth, they are not in that kind of modality now. They are for fire. You punch me, I punch you, and bring it on. And so I just wanted to rest that there as you continue.
Thank you, Loftus. Thank you, Loftus. That's what I'm trying to tell Alvin, because we have a complete different, we live in a different time, Alvin. You know, I understand the Constitution. I love it. I respect it. But we have a different, we're in a different time. We have a different mindset. The people have a different mindset right now of everything. And we have a global village. We see what's happening. But, you know, we cannot, as Loftus say, sit down all the time and turn our cheek for another slap or Bible hitting me in my head every day. I'm not going to do that. You playing that kind of game, I'm going to have reverse psychology to come back and meet you neutral. Let's always be neutral to get to level. That's what we have to do. Now, my other solution, the part about what we need to do. What we need to do is get change. We gave him a chance. We can be good enough. He's wealthy enough. I want them to take all the wealth, all that they have accumulated, keep it. But just give the country, free the country. Let people that have country at heart, people that know that when they have a portfolio, when they have their mandate, they know what they have to work to get paid. We need to have a country where the young boys and girls can see work to achieve and success. We don't have that home. We have a set of young youth growing up and there's no direction. We need a direction for the youth, the young people, to know that I have to work to succeed. I don't want to settle for like up to the room apartment and you're living in a 10-room luxury apartment and driving the most fancy car. I want to work so I can have a fancy car too. I don't want to go back there to peddle drugs and stuff, because right now drugs, peddling, all them stuff there, it's risky as always. But our youth are dying, crimes is increasing because there's no direction for the youth under this administration. And if we are each other's keeper and we love each other as brothers and sisters, let's put the partisan politics aside and let's look for country and development. And with country and development, that's where we have economy. You understand? So the people now have to decide, we treat you well enough, Mr. Skerrit. I was one that had your picture at my shop. Talk about the youngest prime minister when I go shopping and doing my business. When I'm boasting you as the youngest prime minister, my business failed under your reign. And 95% of small business people, if they want to be honest, including those that still have business, if they want to be honest, as there's a God above, the Astafans, the Nassif, all of them, would the banks will finance easily, but they know the economy, the kind of money they could be making, but because of the state of the economy you created, they are not making the kind of financial resources, financial revenue they are. The Social Security know, the directors at Social Security know that they are not getting the right contribution because of the state of the economy. Inland Revenue know that because we put one man there. I love you, no Skerrit. I guess you will listen to me. My name is Jefferson. I love you as an individual. But when it comes to your strategies and your lies and your dishonesty, sir, I cannot support it. I wish you would have just created a Dominica, because we all loved you once upon a time. You had the opportunity to, even if you get wealthy, but you could at least take 10 or 15, 20% and leave the 85 or the 80% for country. That would be quite enough for you, and you wouldn't even have to call an election, because we would stay all the way with you. But then, to get that thing solved, right now it's time for you to go. You need to come out of office, Mr. Prime Minister. I'll address you as Prime Minister. I'm a Dominican, and I'll always remain a Dominican. I left Dominica more because of the state of the economy you created. When I was creating employment, whether it was 2, 4, 5, I was doing. I took chances.
Yeah.
And you let all the most productive sector, people and resource of your country, of the country, not your country, our country. You kick the people who could create the economy that we need, and you bring in foreigners, and you give them $240-something million to go construction. People that can do the same work we do at home. You build a bridge, it's how much billion? You build an airport, it's how much million? It's Chinese. When last have we heard a local native, a Dominican, have a contract to create something of that kind of magnitude where he can create employment so the dollar can circulate? So he need to go. He failed us, loved us, and I love him as a brother. Take all what you have. If you want a little piece of land in Scotland to be the one between the little rock between the Atlantic and the Caribbean Sea there, you wanted to put a castle on top there, take it. But just let us go. Let us build our country. Let the youth, the young people come. I don't need to come back to Dominica.
So what I'm hearing you saying, Sharo, I'll borrow a phrase from Michael Timothy now and others who keep saying that. For Dominica to grow, we say in Skerrit must go.
For Dominica to go, the government have to go.
Okay.
I don't want to say Skerrit.
I accept that. The government.
The government.
Yes.
I have nothing personal with Skerrit. We have a governance system that have failed every sector of the country.
True.
So now it's time for him to go, and the Dominican people have to see to that. He have failed us, and they need to get together and stop settling for less and let him go. Let the governance go.
True.
But let me just add.
Alvin, just before you come in, let me just be very analytical with some of our listeners and viewers here this evening. We were talking about young people earlier, and I know that is Alvin's passion right there for young people. In terms of the question that you asked earlier, Alvin, let me just drive it home a little more poignant so that the people could understand the gravity of the situation we're facing in Dominica. Alvin, if a young man, Sharif, a young man was, or young woman, or young person was just a mere 15-year-old when this, what passes for Labour Party, took the reins of power in Dominica, that 15-year-old now, gentlemen, will be what? 45.
46.
Basically the prime of his or her life. And the question Alvin asked, so pertinent question, what can you show from being 15 to now 35, 36 under this DLP? What can you show? What is it? If you were 18 then, you know what? 38. If you were, for example, 35 then, prime in your life when they took over, you know what? 55 now. You are knocking on the door of retirement. What can you show? Is there anything tangible that you can show?
I always say
if you were 45 then, adult, 45, prime of your life, you are now 65.
That's why I say this.
You are now on the back end of putting up your legs. What can you show?
Absolutely. And that's
50, you know 70. So you're on God's grace now. You understand? And I know, Alvin, just to sum up, some of our elderly folks, Alvin, I can tell when I speak to them, I speak to some of these elderly people in Dominica. Alvin, there's a pain in these people's hearts that if some of them don't see that change that is so desired before the good Lord call them home, some of them will go home very, very pained. They'll go home as painful people because they have lived their sort of latter years, their twilight years, and they have lived it in so much misery. And some of them are going to die miserable deaths.
Yeah.
And I lament with them when they talk to me and they share that with me.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're absolutely right, Lofty. And that is where I say we have to speak to the heart and the mind. Just as you put it. Just as you put it, we have to speak to the heart and the mind. Because as you said, a young man who may have been 30 years or 25 years, today now is 45, almost 50. And the question to him or her, a young woman, where do you see your life? Are you better off now than you were 5 years ago? And as you say, someone who may have been 40 at the time, who's now in retirement, can they seriously say, well, hey, I can sit back and enjoy my retirement while the Prime Minister is boasting on radio that you can go to the registry and see his properties, not property, properties over that 20-year period that he has acquired. So you're right. But let me just also say, in addition to the, because I said earlier, that fight has to be taken from within and outside. It can't be a fight only inside. It has to be from within and outside. And I think as we referenced Malcolm X earlier, by any means necessary. But let me just also say to that, when governments become tyrants like that, like we have in Dominica, they have quite a few enablers in various institutions, in various areas, either as business persons, politicians, head of institution. We have to call them out. So for example, when we have a director of public prosecution that playing the games of the government, we have to call her out. If it means camping and picketing outside her home, we have to do it. When we have, as we say, the chairman of the commission, the electoral commission that's not doing what he's supposed to do, we're supposed to call him or her out, picket outside his home. And one of the things I will say too, though, let's not be timid by if we have 5 or 10 people picketing. The first mile starts with the first step. Let's start with what we have. Let's start where we are. Let's not sit there and try to say, oh, I want to bring out 10,000, and because we don't get 5,000 or 6,000, then we cannot do. We are helpless. We know and we see what happens around the globe. Some of the most successful protests started out with one individuals, maybe 2, 3, 4, and it built. And we have seen it happen even in Dominican's context as well. But the point remains, we have to be out there. We have to speak to the minds and hearts of those young persons, and we have to call out. We have to call out several of those people who are quote unquote enablers. They're enablers to what is happening in the country, and we have to call them out.
You see, can I speak?
Sure.
You see, back home we have a different mindset. Our people mindset is not of value. They settle for less. And you know, unless they get that approach that they understand, I want to earn. He have this too, he get this, I want to have one too. We have to, in life, you have to go for what you want. You don't settle because a man give you $1 when you know if you work further and you put your own effort, you get 5, you know? So it's the people mindset back home. And that's what worked. Because I keep on telling all you, the child that was 1 year, that is now 21, know that kind of parties and know that kind of politics. You understand? The one that was 20, that was now 40 because of the reign of that administration, knows in their young age, mommy, daddy, that was their kind of politics. The elderly ones know that, and most of them are moving away. If you look at the election, not that the real election of 2009, the last one when the opposition participated in it, you could look at the rally because out there, and I was seeing, you could see more persons and more people are involved and going and following the United Workers' Party, because the United Workers' Party had a message, and there were people who wanted the message, where the other one had just a party. You know, if all the thousands of millions of dollars they spent to bring big artists and stuff, when United Workers' Party had a rally with the local artists, you could still see the crowd. You could see the people who participated in the rally. You could see the young people. I looked at it all the time. You understand? But again, when a man have to protect himself at all means necessary, he's going to do anything it takes. And if, as you say, so we do not understand that the people have the power within them to ask for change, we're not going to go nowhere. We need change. We need a change. We had been there. He do well for himself. If he say he do well for country, that's his opinion. But we need change. We need new mindset of people. We need people with ideas. We need people with integrity. We need people that respect the same constitution like you, Mr. Thomas. You understand? But for us to get people to respect that same constitution, we have to get people that are going to turn back that mindset to where the constitution is at the level playing field. But if we keep on following the same man doing going on a 90-degree and he moving up to go to 360 to 180 to get back to a 360, and we continue following him while he's ahead. No, we have to block it. So we have to go the reverse way and block him there and bring him back down to where the Constitution is and let him do the works of the Constitution. And I will say it again, to get a Dominica, we need change, because we have a government in office that is using our own resources and brainwashing the people. You think nothing about electoral reform? We need Byron. We don't need Byron to give us an ID card. This is just strategies, and this is guys that know one another, that doing things and getting stuff done. Do you think we need a man to be talking about an airport that is a prime minister? You know, every conference it has is the prime minister that addressing, you know, I mean, it have to change. No man is an island. No man is God.
True. All right, Brother Sharo, thank you very much. It's 5 minutes to the hour of 8 o'clock. In 5 minutes, we have to turn down the curtains on things here. So you guys' final comments will be coming in just after we hear a little line from Midnight Groovers. Brother, that one will sing well if you share. Midnight Groovers, this one entitled System La. That is what we're talking about, the system in Dominica. Take a little listen. We'll be back in just a bit.
Allô moun pa mele, ane ou ka vive dan sistem ki ka vini ple mouve. A dan sistem la se pwa bay ou bani a yen ple nou gade si mwes nou ka ni we. Oh we. Allô moun ka ple we, allô moun ka kouye an sistem la. Paske sistem la se yon tou ki bani bonda.
System la se yon tou ki pani bonda.
Sistem la se yon tou.
For those of you who can't speak Creole out there, Alvin will translate for you in a while, okay? Alvin, we need a translation, Alvin. Let's go. From Midnight Groovers.
Sharo, I need your help, boy. Sharo, come to my defense.
Well, I'm going to say that it is the system. The people have to know. We have to be open to them. The system is a system. It's a big hole without a bottom. That's it. You need to get the bottom and push it back up. Sure. Alvin, was nice being with you, man.
Yeah, boy, I know. Midnight Groovers, boy, he's the best. Job, he's the best, boy. He's the best. And you see, you know, that's the other thing, you know, Lofty and Sharo, we are so rich in different things. I mean, our culture. I mean, listen to this guy, his lyrics, his song. I mean, you have Exile One, you had Grammar. I mean, Dominica is so blessed. We are blessed people. We are industrious people. I mean, you go anywhere in the United States and you find a Dominican. 99% of them are doing well. Have their business, they're doing something, they send home. I mean, it was what? I think it was for 2020, if I think the World Bank record show, we sent home well over 20 or 40 million US dollars by way of remittances. So we support our country. We love Dominica. That's why we're doing that. It's out of love that we're doing that, you know? And it really pains us to see where we are today. And as I tell people, you know, a lot of times, I'm old enough, thank God, I'm old enough to have seen different administration and worked in different administration. Because I joined the public service in the 70s. In 75, I joined the public service.
But
so
Alvin,
I worked with...
Alvin.
Huh?
You're 22, man, Alvin. You look good, man.
You're blessed. I worked under Eoli Blanc. And Prime Minister Patrick John. And I worked under Dame Eugenia Charles, the Freedom Party administration. And I worked under the UWP administration.
That way you like the Constitution?
Right there with the Minister of Tourism, Norris Prevost, my good friend. So I can make comparisons. So I
seen it all.
work
You have seen it all, Alvin, and done it all.
Yes. So
Yes.
when I see what's happening today and the way in which things have been done and governed, it blows my mind. I mean, so, but like I always say, you know, Lofty, there is hope.
It is 8 o'clock, Alvin, and we have to
Yes, there is hope. And what we need to do, that kind of conversation we're having here today, and Sharo, man, you are the best. You really said it as it is. Like the people say, you're not putting water in your mouth to say what you got to say. We got to take that message to the ground and the community. I know there are quite a few people on live with us, but we have to find a way to take that message. You see what the things that Sharo just shared with us? We have to take that.
Matter of fact, Yusila James is saying, bring back Sharo. She wants to hear
Yes,
Sharo.
we have to take that into the communities. We need to go to Soufriere and play that tape or find a way to pass that message. Go Granby, go St. Joseph, go Portsmouth, and spread that message.
All right, Sharo,
bring about some change.
Sharo, thank you very much, my brother, on behalf of the team, the Civic Vibes team that is, and the many folks listening and watching at this time. Your final comments, brother.
I just want my Dominican people to understand the beauty we have back home, especially those out there, and to appreciate that piece of rock we have, that fresh water, that beautiful mountain, that fertile soil. We cannot have other natives come in and take advantage of what belongs to us for a few dollars, and we give up our lands and what we own, what we have inherited by family. So my Dominican people, you all have to stand up and defend Whitey Kubuli and stop letting one man and a group of foreigners manipulate the system with one lawyer where they see the weak links and they can manipulate it and we settle for it. You all need to stand up and demand answers, demand questions about the sales of passport. Where did you get the money for you to have so much wealth and accumulate so much? We have to ask it because we arrest the drug guys. If it comes in illegally, the policemen and the officers and the courts have to do what is right and stop protecting one man. That is why our economy will never grow if you all are doing the wrong deeds in the country, because the economy can only grow when you have legislation in place and people follow the rules and law. That's how it is. Bless one.
All right, brother. Thank you very much. Very succinct indeed. Thank you very much. My brother, your contribution tonight, your invaluable contribution, I must add. I can tell you, based on the chatter getting on the live feed, and then you did justice to the topic and yourself tonight in terms of your presentation. Thank you very much, brother Sharo.
Print out a t-shirt and send it for me. Bless you enough, man. I love you, man. Take good care of yourself. Stay safe. Alvin, it was nice having you hearing from you, man. I hope we'll keep in touch and we'll do things, man. More things for country, you know. Country.
Sure.
Thanks,
no
brother. Thanks.
Problem.
Yeah.
Alvin, all the best.
Yeah, man, bro. One love.
God bless you, my
brother.
Take care,
Sharo. Yes.
You look blessed. Stay safe.
All right, Alvin. Here is it. Your time now in terms of your wind-up time. We got to go in a while.
Well, Lofty, again, a very stimulating conversation, I must say. I mean, this guy, Sharo, was on fire. I like his passion. I like his commitment. He's to country. And that's the thing, Lofty. There's so many of us, so many like Sharo out here in the diaspora, all over, that really loves Dominica, that wants the best for Dominica. It's not the question of anything personal. I personally don't even know personally Roosevelt Skerrit. I don't know him. I mean, I'm not his age group, so he's not somebody I know. But what I do know is that I love Dominica. And no matter I've been in Atlanta for all those years, Dominica is dear to me. I love this place they call Dominica. And I believe and live by the tenets of my JCI creed that service to humanity is the best work of life. And that is what I'm there for. That's a legacy I want to leave back for my children and my friends and people who know me, that was able to serve my people, serve my country. And that's why we're doing that. So thank you, Sharo, for sharing with us. I think we had a very great program, Lofty as always. And to our many fans, I mean, we had a lot of responses on the Facebook page, a lot of comments, some we were not able to get to. But as I will again reiterate as I end, we need to take that message Like the Bible says, if you have a light and we don't let it shine and you cover it, nobody will see the light. Nobody will know of the light. So we have to take that light across Dominica. And hopefully one day, change will come about. Change will come about. And I'm positive that it will come. Thanks, Lofty, and a good week to you and all our many fans that are still there with us. A pleasant and productive week to everyone. And again, to Sharo and his family, all the best.
Thank you, man. God bless you, man.
Parce que système là, c'est un tout qui va nous border. Parce que système là, c'est un tout qui va nous border. Now this system is a bottomless pit. Parce que système là, c'est un tout qui va nous border.
All right, Dominicans, that is it for us here on this Civic Vibes program for yet another Sunday, the 23rd of April, 2023. I want to say a special thank you to Brother Sharo, indeed. For his forthright conversation here this evening with us all. Huh? Very, very patriotic brother indeed. Always love his country. And to the myriads of you out there listening and watching, thank you very much. Midnight Groovers singing a very special one indeed, The System.
Now this system is a bottomless pit. Parce que system là c'est tout qui va ni bonda.
System là c'est tout qui va ni bonda. Basically translate as a bottomless pit. That is the system. Dominica, that is it for us. I gotta pack my bag and make some tracks at this time. It's already 7 minutes past 8 o'clock hour.
Our system là les points.
So those of you who know me very well, I'm a stickler for time, and so it's already 7 minutes overboard. But thank you nonetheless, Dominicans here and abroad. So we'll take about 2 more minutes of Chubby, and we're gonna bring it to a wind down in just a bit. 2 more minutes and we're out. Thank you, Dominicans. See you next week, same time, same place, right here from 6 p.m.
Allo moun pa mele, pa den ka viva dans système qui ka vini plus mauvais. A dans système là et travail ou pas bien plus nous garder c'est moi sou kani ouais. Oh oh oh. Allo moun ka plebe, allo moun ka crier un système là. Parce que système là c'est un tout qui va ni border. Parce que système là c'est un tout qui va ni border. Now this system is a bottomless pit. Parce que système là c'est un tout qui va ni border. Oh, oh, oh.